Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another watch list. Basically, think of this as a monthly TV guide for me to let you know what and when TV shows that I'm interested in and maybe you're interested in too are coming out. Like always, in the description down below, I'll include any links to any trailers that might be available about anything that I bring up during this watch list. On June 5th on Cinemax, we got this new series called Trackers. Now, just based on a trailer, it seems like this really interesting kind of crime drama show where it's basically taking place in Cape Town, South Africa. Basically, there's this, like, I guess, like, kind of a government agency. I don't know whether it'd be like an equivalency of like an FBI or maybe even a CIA, or whatever the case may be, that's trying to stop, like, these blood diamonds are being used to kind of pay terrorists, and they're trying to stop, like, this group of bad people. But but it seemed like some of the main characters, like at least one or two that they're focusing on, are like people who were transporting the diamonds. So I don't know whether it seemed like it was kind of like, oh, these are people who were caught in the middle of this whole situation of like, oh, I was delivering these diamonds and then I got screwed over and now I'm getting revenge type of situation. I don't know. I feel like if I had to compare it to anything, like, it's not necessarily the same thing, but I almost feel like I get a tiny bit of like a Strike Back feel to it. I mean, just from the trailer alone, it seemed interesting. I did say the show is new, but technically it's only new here in the US because the show came out like last year, but this is its first time in the US. On June 12th on Hulu, we got this new animated series called Crossing Swords. From what I was seeing, it said like executive producers from Robot Chicken, which is interesting. It even kind of has a little bit of that clay animated style that Robot Chicken has. I don't know if that'd be the right terminology for it, but I mean, it's not the same thing as Robot Chicken, where Robot Chicken is kind of like this animated sketch show. You know, there's random sketches and stuff like that. This is more so, it seems like it's a, you know, medieval show that's just like consecutive of just like there's being like an overarching story. It seems interesting. It seems kind of, like I said, it definitely has a very like Robot Chicken vibe and tone to it, just because like the blood and just like the weird stuff that you see. It just seems like a very interesting kind of like more adult tailored animated, you know, show. On June 18th on Netflix, we have this second season of The Order. Basically, this dude went to this school that, it's not like a school for magic, but like there's a secret society that exists at this school. He ended up joining them because he kind of has his own plans for revenge. It's stuff you kind of learn in like the first episode. But what was interesting is that it ends up turning into so much more and bigger. Like there's obviously like werewolves involved. Like, because when I originally talked about the show when it first came out, because I remember including it on a watch list, I think, I wasn't really sure what to really expect from the show, and the show didn't go the direction I thought it would. I'm interested to see where this season goes, because a lot of stuff was obviously resolved last season, but then we set up some interesting stuff of like, okay, like the Order was kind of built on some like terrible foundation, and it's like, oh no, we're gonna correct all those mistakes, and the Order's gonna go into, like, obviously a lot of our main characters ended up in a situation where like, oh, so what does that mean for season 2? Like, obviously at the time we were recording this, I don't believe there's any trailers or anything out. Probably be another week or two before one drops, so I don't really even know what to expect going into this season. On June 21st on AMC, we have season 2 of NOS4A2. I think it's supposed to be just kind of a fancy way of saying NOS4A2. That's how I always just kind of simplify it. But whatever the case may be, I'm very interested to, you know, check this out, because obviously I really dug season 1. And if you're unaware, basically it's about this girl named Vic who ends up basically kind of having like this power. It's called like an inscape. She has like this bridge that she's able to use to kind of take her where she kind of wants and needs to be. She crosses paths with this dude named Charlie Minks, who was basically kidnapping kids and kind of using them. Basically, he's essentially a vampire, and he's turning them into vampires, and basically by taking their souls, he's, you know, maintaining his youth. It's a very interesting series. Obviously, where things left Vic at the end of season 1, life wasn't 100% good, but obviously she was still searching for a way to get into Christmas Town, kind of going into spoilers and stuff like that. Obviously, Charlie seems like he's still around, so it's like what that means. I'm also curious, is she going to run into, like, obviously, like, things with Vic's inscape are complicated, especially the whole situation with her knife, which is her bike. You know, like I said, there's a lot of stuff here, so I am going a little into spoilers, so I do apologize. but I am interested to see, you know, what this season turns into. Like, I know there are trailers out. I've seen a little bit of promotional materials and commercials about it, but I haven't really taken a dive into it too much. So I want to go into this season knowing as little as possible. So I don't know if I'll actually even bother watching a trailer at all, but we'll see. Also on June 21st, we have this new series on HBO, Perry Mason. From what I was seeing, it's just a mini series, but basically I'm not 100% sure what time period it's taking place in. I'd assume maybe like mid 1900s, maybe like 1930s, 1940s, something like that. Essentially, you have like this dude, Perry Mason, who's kind of like a detective, basically solving kind of a horrific situation, like where a child was kidnapped, but obviously it goes horribly wrong, and so basically he's investigating it. So it's like this very like nice period piece crime drama, him trying to solve something. It seems like it's a conspiracy that a lot of people are involved in. A lot of interesting faces in it. Matthew Reese, I think kind of like best thing I know him from is I said that weird, is The Americans, which I still need to circle back around to that show. I got super far behind on the show, but it's a really good show. I need to like circle back to it. And Tatiana Maslany from Orphan Black, I was like, dude, that's so dope. And John Lithgow's in it too. It's just a very nice cast, and it seemed like an interesting kind of very dark story. I'm not that familiar with Perry Mason. I looked into it a little bit. It's like, oh, like it's this character like known from like a long list of novels that has constantly popped in. The interesting stuff I was reading was he's kind of more like a lawyer than a detective. I don't know, maybe this is kind of supposed to be early stages before he transitions into the more, I don't know, but it seems like a very interesting series. Like I said, it's going to be on HBO, but it is because obviously HBO has their streaming service, so if you have that, it will also be streaming on HBO Max. I don't know what the time difference is. I'm assuming like sometime after it airs on TV, it'll air on HBO Max. Like I said, I don't have HBO Max, so I don't know like how the scheduling for that's going to work. On June 25th on DC Universe as well as HBO Max, we have season 2 of Doom Patrol. I'm very excited. It's probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most this month. If you're unfamiliar with Doom Patrol it's a DC show. Basically, you take all these kind of weirdos type of, you know, heroes, misfits who are coming together to try. It's like, oh, we're not heroes, but here we are kind of playing heroes, and here we're up against this villain known as, what was it, Mr. Nobody. It was just a weird, like, it's got like this nice comedy. Like, if I had to compare it to anything, it's like if you took Legends of Tomorrow but took it even further off the rails than the show already is, which I mean that in the best way possible. It's a weird, loony show, but it also has like a lot of nice heart to it. Like, obviously nice character, like, you know, characterization, kind of getting to know this group of, you know, characters. So obviously a lot of stuff was resolved in season 1, like I think like everything, like obviously some stuff about, you know, the Chiefs past, I think are still, you know, need to be answered, but majority of it was kind of dealt with. Then I'm curious to like, okay, so where is season 2 going to take us? Because there's supposed to be some new characters and stuff like that, but I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't read too much on season 2 because I want to go into season 2 as knowing as little as possible. But at the time we're recording this, there is no trailer. It'll probably be a while before we get a trailer for season 2. But I'm really excited to have Doom Patrol back. As you heard me say earlier, obviously the show originally started on DC Universe, but this season is going to be simultaneously streaming on both DC Universe and HBO Max because they still haven't worked out what they're going to do with that whole situation. But either way, regardless, I'm very, very excited, you know, to see what season 2 has in store for it. And finally, on June 27th on Netflix, we have the 3rd and final season of Dark. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I don't really know too much because I've only recently just started watching the show. I've only watched 2 episodes at the time of me recording this. It's actually a show that was kind of recommended to me like a year or 2 ago. I just never got around to it, and now they're like, oh, the 3rd and final season's coming out, so it's like the best time to kind of watch the show, you know. So, but like I said, I don't know too much about it. Just so far, it's like, oh, there's a kidnapping, and some other like horrible stuff is going down right now. But it also seems like this, because the way the show was pitched to me beforehand was like, oh yeah, this is a time travel show, which I wasn't really sure how that was worked into the plot. But by the time I'm at episode 2, I'm like, okay, we're seeing elements of that. But like, obviously, like I said, I'm only in the 2nd episode. There's like 18, I think I was reading so far. So it's like it'll be probably a little while before we really get into the ins and outs of what's going on, because there's a lot of like connecting dots, because it's kind of a thing of like, our perception of what time is, isn't what we think it is, and the fact of the matter is like everything in this story seems like they're kind of pointing to like, oh, it's all connected, and it's just interesting. There's a lot of mystery to it that I'm really interested to kind of find out, what it's all about. And so that brings this month's watch list to an end. Like always, if there's something that's coming out that maybe I wasn't aware of, that maybe you're aware of, that you think maybe me or someone else would be interested in, don't be afraid to leave it in the comments down below. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.